Hi everyone, this is Kate Warnock, the social media manager for GuideWell, coming back to you live from MediFuture. I have with me today the CEO and founder of Zipongo, Dr. Jason Langheier. Jason, welcome to the GuideWell Insights Lounge.
Thank you. It's great to meet you.
We're so happy to have you here. Well, Jason, you know, with all the context and all the conversation that's happening at MediFuture, one thing that I know is a major theme is really the role of data. And I was looking at your background and saw that you had a really deep knowledge in bioinformatics. Can you tell us what is bioinformatics, and do you see a new wave of innovation coming along that line?
Sure. So I think, strictly speaking, bioinformatics is actually the study of how to use computer science and manipulate data as it relates to things like genetics, biomarkers, and biology. And then the broader field of biomedical informatics is looking at other data, such as what's in the electronic medical record and how to use that to help better care for patients. And what's really interesting is that the worlds of bioinformatics, biomedical informatics, and just technology and consumer technology are really all coming together now. And if you think about a company like Zipongo, we give personalized recommendations for your diet. And the way we do that is we pull down your biometrics, such as your blood pressure, your cholesterol. These are biomedical informatics things typically, together with your food preferences that might come from your grocery loyalty card or your dietary assessment that you do. So those things are kind of like, it reminds you of Netflix or Amazon, you know, when you pick your favorite movie or it remembers your shopping history. And then finally, we actually have a study where we're looking at genetics with one of our employers at an academic institution, and we can tell if you're a caffeine slow metabolizer or not, and that helps guide us as to whether to help you cut caffeine out of your diet and give you decaf alternatives and things like that. Because if you're a caffeine slow metabolizer and you drink too much caffeine, then you actually double your heart attack risk and you don't sleep very well at night. So in that vignette I just gave you, related to Zipongo, you can see how bioinformatics, biomedical informatics, just typical consumer tech data is coming together. And it's really fun and exciting as to the implications it has for personalization and actually improving your health outcomes, but in a way that you'll enjoy the experience.
So I wonder, you know, obviously you're an entrepreneur in this field. You know, does your own health experience, has it led to you kind of formulating new business plans or new business opportunities based on your own health? And if so, you know, is Zipongo maybe a result of that?
You know, so it's really interesting how you kind of develop a career path. As for my own health, I grew up in a family where my mom struggled with weight and obesity, and I remember going to something called Diet Workshop when I was like 10 years old. It was a lot like Weight Watchers, and saw these people who come to these workshops kind of frustrated about their weight, and that sticks with you. And of course, my mom's own experience and experiences that my family members have had, my sisters, influenced my perspective. I'm pretty lucky in that even though I didn't really get the healthiest food growing up in Western New York, and in a kind of lower middle class family, the flip side, my mother, through that Diet Workshop experience, learned a lot that then she then kind of communicated to me. And then in college I was a rower, and so our coach was very focused on the role of nutrition in terms of our athletic performance. And that personal experience was amazing because I kind of was at my prime in college going forward and had never lost that level of energy that I have from how well I eat and how physically fit that I am from that experience. So kind of bringing together the extremes of my mom's experience and then other family members who struggle with stroke and cancer, and the kind of impact of nutrition and physical activity on my own life has all come together and to where I focus my time. Because at the end of the day, for example, food is the top driver of chronic disease right now.
Right.
And you can totally transform health outcomes, as we've seen in our data, by addressing these things deeply.
So, you know, again, looking back at your background, you know, I think that something like Zipongo probably helps any consumer, but you know, when it does come to consumerism, it really does put the onus more on the individual to start taking care of themselves, you know, and really embracing preventative health. With your experience of working with a variety of different ages and patients in your career, have you found a consistent motivation that works across all groups of the population, or what's your experience that way?
there are themes. I wouldn't say there's one motivation. It totally depends on the life stage. So part of what got me very passionate about Zipongo and this work in particular is I had started a pediatric obesity clinic at Boston Medical Center. And people often talk that, you know, low-income families or individuals, they don't care about their health, which is just not true. Moms in particular rabidly care about the health of their kids. But the construct about what you do about it is off. So in this clinic, we had these two twin girls, for example. Their mom was developmentally delayed. She was passionately concerned about their health, but had no construct that, you know, their weight and the buildup of their obesity over years was a real problem. And this was only back in 2002. People are slightly more aware now, but it still is not really thought of as a medical issue. It's like, oh, your kid is a little chubby, right? But these girls had pre-diabetes.
Oh, goodness.
And you know, they already had early symptoms of heart disease. They had hypertension, actually, these particular girls. And the issues that tied back to that were ones of the fact that they shopped at a convenience store down the street for most of their food. They all drank soda regularly. They had no physical activity whatsoever. And we were able to reverse that. We reversed their prediabetes just by doing things like asking, what kind of food do you like? What kind of food grosses you out? Going to a different grocery store, showing them how they could get those foods. And that was the kind of early impetus for now what we've kind of automated with Zipongo. But those things work. So the motivation is that people do want to live well on the big picture sense for themselves and their family. But on the day-to-day sense, people are motivated by convenience first and foremost. And I'd say one theme that's emerging in America and developed nations is even amongst lower income families, convenience still takes priority over everything else. And then when it comes to price and discount, you know, we have discounts and loyalty cards affiliated with our meal plan programs. Lower income families definitely pay attention to discounts as a secondary thing to convenience. And then people pay less attention when they're over 120,000 in income. Convenience is still the #1 thing that dominates American culture. And if health offerings on a daily basis can't be about the food, the convenience of that food, the taste of that food, the physical activity opportunity, the fun activity you'll engage in as the primary motivator day to day, then it won't work. And that's why things like, you know, looking at a nutrition label every day isn't something people are willing to engage in repeatedly.
Right. So it seems like with that convenience motivator, the opportunity then is to how do you deliver the right information at the time that they need it in a way that's easily consumable. And obviously Zipongo is doing a fantastic job that way. You know, another thing that I had explored about your background is you seem to be very passionate about businesses who are in the business of doing social good. And certainly, you know, among the healthcare field, there are a number of examples of that. Do you think that that will be a growing trend moving forward in the healthcare industry, that kind of organization that's solely constructed on doing social good?
Yeah, well, I think part of what's exciting about the digital health kind of technology wave is that there are a number of kind of young entrepreneurs who decide that instead of working on, you know, Wall Street, I want to work at Google, or instead of working at Google, I want to start the next new company. And we were part of Rock Health as an example, one of the many cool incubators and accelerators out there. But my peers at Rock Health are, you know, wonderful people, ranging from, you know, people in their late teens to people who are in their, you know, 50s, and this is their 3rd or 4th startup. But bringing that community together, it's really encouraging and exciting to see that people as early as right out of college or as their first entrepreneurial endeavor are saying, I want to build something that's useful, that has meaning. And I think that's, you know, even different coming out of a place like Williams, which is a fantastic university, or Cambridge, and even coming out of Duke Med or Harvard School of Public Health. There's a lot of pressure to take the radiology job, or, you know, the high-paying specialty, or to go into banking or consulting. And, you know, I was a consultant for Oliver Wyman and Mercer, which is a great experience. But for me, it was a great experience because it taught me things that I could then apply to building, you know, my previous company, Preventis, or Zipongo. And then every day I go to work at Zipongo. Sometimes, you know, I ask, like, how is this going to translate to people? But then we look at our data, and I remember people like the people we're serving today in the clinic that I worked with as a physician, and it makes me feel good every night, no matter what the challenges are, that the little things we inched forward that day for the company made a real difference. And I never have to think, well, all the work I put into it, or the all-nighter that I did on building the startup, or whatever I did at any given moment was for naught. It feels very worthwhile.
Very rewarding.
That's selfish. That altruism, that's a selfish altruism, and I hope more people catch wind of that and get themselves into careers, entrepreneurial or otherwise, where they feel like they have meaning around their work every day.
Well, your ROI is helping people live better lives, and I can't imagine a better return on the investment that you've made in Zipongo and in your career. So I want to thank you so much for visiting us here at the GuideWell Insights Lounge, and look forward to hearing more from you in the future.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.